All right, everybody, what's going on? This is your boy, Dr. Will Rogers, a.k.a. Master Teacher 33. Today is Sunday, I think. Yep, Sunday, July the 3rd, 2022. And the time is 2 p.m. Central. We're going to jump right in with the Theocentric Nutrition private group. You guys know I've been doing this for a long time. I do the rotation diet. So this time I just want to document. And we did a little bit of it last time, and we was going through, I know Sister Cheryl West, Sister Diane Coleman, and a few other folk who had joined me on the frequent intense training where we're focusing on the exercise portion. Well, today we're going to do something a little different. Man, I got to find the name of that documentary that I watched a few days ago, and they were talking about the benefits of plant-based. Now, we all know that, so it's not like it's anything new, but what we're doing, or what I want to do this time around, which is a little bit different than what I've done before, is the documentation of it, and to break it down in a step-by-step process. So I'm going to document it so that way I can share it with you guys. And what we're going to do is give you guys access to, instead of just having people or shipping people a bunch of material like I did in the past, which I still do, is, you buy, and all of this, by the way, is at the Theocentric Nutrition website. So it's not anything new. The only difference is I'm just walking you through it step by step. So for anybody that wants to be a part of the group, again, it's $100. I started today. We'll start on July the 5th for everybody else. So what does this involve? Well, as you guys know, or may not know, I think you guys remember when we went through David Sinclair stuff, and we was talking about autophagy and spent a lot of time talking about, what actually does, based upon the scientific research, reverse the aging process. Now, I've been doing this for a long time. Like, I weighed myself today, and it's crazy because it's easy how this happens. So I haven't done my normal rotation in about, I always exercise. Now, I weigh 280, and I exercise twice a day. And I videotaped it or recorded it because I know, like the wife always said, you don't weigh that much. And my kids, they'll say that too. So I videotaped it so that way when I do my documentary or my tape and post it on YouTube later, I can show my starting weight. It's interesting because I don't do it for weight. Like, I don't do this for weight. I do this for what was in this documentary I watched last night when they did the guy's blood. Now, I used to do blood work, but because of the way the doctors, if I could do it at home, I just do it at home. But when you go and it's hard to go and just ask a doctor to do blood work, and measure all of your biomarkers without them trying to give you something or find something and have you do. Well, we measured your markers and we found, or we think, and, trying to put you on some type of a chemical. So you guys know, I can already tell when my body, when the trash needs to be taken out. And we all can. We don't really listen to our body. So the whole point of this is to the recipe aspect of it. So I'll be revamping my cookbook. So I already have a cookbook, you guys know, and it's inside the rotation diet, and that also is in the back of your GSN report. I give everybody their diet based upon the blood. So, your blood plays a huge portion or a huge factor in your diet. The whole purpose of this is for us to understand that, biblically, we wouldn't really, we know about the clean and unclean animals in the book of Leviticus and the book of Deuteronomy. All of this is inside of my book, The Rotation Diet. You guys know I used to be deep into the whole, when it talks about in the book of Leviticus, especially when it talks about some of the things that's an abomination, which are all of the stuff that black folks eat. Pretty much, everything that we eat, especially on the, the wife's favorite dishes, which is crawfish. Never got into crawfish or shrimp or any of that kind of stuff. I'll eat it sometimes if she prepares it, because she went through the work or the labor or what have you. But there comes a point in time when you got to, especially now because the universe has shifted and changed. And so now remember, your mind can change and mold mass of matter. Now, I break this down inside of the book Theocentric, Neurotheology. I can't remember the name of my own book. Neurotheology and Nutrition. That's why I'm able to do what I do, because I understand what I want to share with everybody else. Now, it's a lot easier, and your body loves you a whole lot more if you actually do the things that benefit your cells on a cellular level, because then you become organic, you become natural, you become authentic. And it's a dopamine rewarding system. So the body releases dopamine. It rewards you when you operate according to the way God designed you. And so fruits and vegetables, fruits and vegetables, because of the benefits of the green blood and the fruits, the chlorophyll, we already know all of that stuff. But what we want to focus on doing this is that the rotation lifestyle, the 30 steps of 30 days, it's not about necessarily the removing of the meat. It's the promotion and the focus on fasting, fruits, and vegetables. Because what happens is that actually regenerates the body's centurious, they call it sirtuinous. How about sin? Sirtuinous science. It's called sirtuinous science. And it's recently been in the news, kind of fell off a little bit, but when it first came out, especially on TikTok, they was talking about it a lot. Now, I've been doing this for a long time because it gets into how does each individual gene age? And it gets into, when you look at there's 5 genes that produce proteins called sirtuinous. And it is one that's called SIRT7. One thing that the body doesn't do is D3 and B12. Almost everybody's in a deficit in D3 and B12. So and that's what some of the supplements that I was talking about. So doing this, it's a 30 days where we're going to meet briefly in the morning. And I may just do, because I don't want to, number one, I'm not going to add any more weight and work to my already busy plate. And number two, I don't want to take up any more of your time. So it has to be something that is very, very, very beneficial and very time, conscious. And so I'm debating on whether or not, because if there are specific questions, they may be best asked one-on-one, or asked, I should say, or text, and then I could just answer it during the call or during the meeting in the mornings. The whole point of this is to give you a step-by-step system to go with the knowledge that you already have. Because what's happening is, when it comes to building muscle and burning fat, the cellular respiration and the cellular regeneration inside of what is called synthesis or centurious science is what's missing. What does that mean? That just simply means that everybody knows the basics. Everybody knows that, to eat healthy, cut off the fat, we all know that, but we don't do it. Now, the reason that we don't do it is because we really don't know the details of the benefits of it. That's the reason I don't do it. And then I was watching this documentary last night, and I have to get the name of it because it has some good stuff in it, because it only was talking with athletes. And the benefits was the recovery time and the injuries. So the ability to come back from injuries was significant. I mean, I could not believe it. The regeneration time, when the diet is plant-based versus the diet that is protein-based. Now, we all know that it helps with your blood, it helps with this, that, and the other. But the two things that stood out, which I already know, but it just gave me a big understanding, because one of the reasons why I did this, I didn't want to stay at this current weight as long as I did. But I'm kind of glad I did, because, if I'm at 280 and if I drop down to 200, that's 80 pounds. And I'll usually do that in 30 days. This time I'm going to do something different. So each time I do it, I like to do something different just because I like showing how you can mold and and sculpture your body into anything that you want it to be. And you have this power over your body because the body responds to a vibration. That's kind of was the subtitle of today's message. Now, it's very important because what happens is that, as everybody on this call, as we go through life, we kind of, sort of, I'm going to use that term, we forget it. We know it, but because we got so much stuff going on, we don't really integrate it into our daily routine. Now, everybody knows what's not good for you, and everybody knows what is good for you. So we're going to talk about that. But what we have to talk about is the little details of, like, your flavonoid consumption and what contains what flavonoids that activate autophagy so that way you can reverse the aging process. And one of the things I know I was talking with Sister Kiawaka, because the hardest thing is the meal prep. And Sister Kiawaka is already in that space. And so if there's a way that Sister Kiawaka can, but there's companies that do that, I just don't know if it's cost efficient. Because that way I can tell, like, one of my favorite meals, my 3 favorite meals that activate or reverse, I should say, cellular death because of the amount of flavonoids that's found in it. And the biggest thing that I like doing is vegetable or vegan lasagna. And instead of using noodles, they actually have green plant-based noodles, or just use kale. So in the place of the regular gluten noodles, you need something that's heavy to divide the different layers. So I use kale, or if I can find, they're hard to find, but some stores carry them. They do have noodles that are made from plants. Now you got to be careful buying store-bought processed stuff because you already know they're going to throw some crap in there. And so one of the things that I like to do is, using the kale. I've tried it with eggplants. Zucchini also. Sister Kiawaka, I've tried it with zucchini. I've tried it with squash. So when I do the vegetable lasagna, I put, it's about 9 or 10 different vegetables in it, but they all are compatible. The next thing is, like, when you go to that restaurant, Chipotle, I think it's called. Well, they have, when you go up there, they have, the brown rice, the white rice. Then they have the black beans. Then they have the regular pinto beans. And then they got different things that you can add. So a vegan or vegetable burrito is my second best meal when I'm doing my when I'm on my vegetable kick. Now, this time, it may not be a kick. I think I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with it for a little bit longer than I usually do. Only because I already know this from a endurance and from a, not that it is needed, because sometimes it's actually kind of good, especially for me, to kind of tone down, what's the word I can use? Tone down some of the sexual paralysis, we'll put it that way. Because the benefits, and all men, I've told men this before, usually you lose an inch off of your member, we'll put it that way, pretty much for about, almost on average, about every 20 to 30 pounds. So you can do the math. That's one of the biggest things that I've noticed as well is, as a man, when you carry that extra weight around your midsection, it shortens your member. We'll put it that way. And that's another one of the biggest benefits that it talks about in this documentary. That was the first time that I've seen they took a group of men and they, measured their, they did, plant-based, and then they did it with a meat-based. And their sexual paralysis, it was crazy, the difference. We achieved that time. Now, that's just a good side effect. That's not really the reason, for you to over understand the benefits of centurious or centennious science, which is basically the science of longevity, which is the science of reverse aging, which is over understanding, okay, what is the benefits? Because there's a lot of different stuff that's out there. And for example, like when I had, one of the biggest things that really, really helped me was the Tonga Ali, the elderberry, moringa, and cocoa. So we all know, like in dark chocolate, that cocoa is really bitter though. So, but if you drink that and if you mix it with the almond milk, and even if you do drink coffee, but if you add that to the coffee in the morning, then that doubles the health benefits of it, especially if you're not using dairy, or if you do what I do now, which is there's a lady here who has her own beehive, and we can buy it, which I got to tell you guys all this, man, because she puts honey sticks in the bees. She takes it straight from the hive. It has honey in it, not honey, cinnamon sticks. And so it's cinnamon honey. So you add the cinnamon and the honey. Oh man, you talk about good. So this is what I do. Like I do this every day, and it's funny because the wife's family, they'll see me. My own kids, they'll see me. Like I go like the grand opening, I was at 280. I weighed myself this morning. I'm at 280. My normal weight is really about like 215. So when I dropped down to I dropped down like last time I went, and so and this is what, but I like being, let's say, 175 or 180. But the wife doesn't like it when I'm that, because I do look skinny. I mean, I am. When you go from 280 to 180, that's a lot of weight, especially in 30 days. So it's a little. People see me and they're like, damn, like, you all right? Because the people think, and it's funny because I'm actually, that's the healthiest. Because then, man, those are the days when I'm, oh wow, it's like I said, I can't really do it unless I'm really, really busy, because I get my black ass in a lot of trouble, because I really don't at that age. When I drop under 200 pounds, I don't really need sleep. I don't really eat like that. It's just I eat maybe a snack in the morning and a snack at night, because the body is so self-sufficient, especially when you are high. And that's what the documentary was talking about. The body runs off of sun. You don't really need food. We wasn't really designed to eat food. That was so crazy. You're supposed to you ain't really designed to even drink water. There's water in the air. As was proved by the guy that was shot, but he got hit from San Antonio, that big old machine that pulls water out of thin air. I mean, he got all over YouTube. A lot of the stuff I talk about, people never heard of. They're like, what did he just say? So I don't really have time to, and I posted on my TikTok videos. I posted on Facebook this morning. If you do not have dried, whole, organic moringa leaves, ooh, man, you got to get it. Now, a lot of this stuff I buy from Sister Ellen, because she's a member. So a lot of times I throw, obviously because she buys my stuff, so I buy her stuff. So I always check to see, it's called Ellen's Holistic. She's on Facebook. Anybody needs the link, I'll send it to you. Burdock root, man. You guys know sea moss. Sea moss is dangerous. So I did sea moss, and I broke out all over my body. I had little bumps everywhere because it pushes out all of the impurities out of your skin. I've tried it twice, and both times I've tried it, I had to discontinue it. So I got a whole bunch of sea moss that I'm like, I don't really take it unless I ain't planning on going nowhere for 30 days. I'm not going to be around people, because you break out. Because it clears, it works. Sea moss, it works, but part of it works. Now I got wild crafted sea moss. It's called Red Kitchen. It's some black folks way out in Jamaica somewhere who go out They got the videos. It's all over YouTube as well. The point that I'm making is I'm going through oregano oil. Man, you know I'm about beet juice, elderberry. Oh man, sister Colette just posted a video on TikTok. Thankfully, I've been begging her to do it. Got Sister Kilwata, and she's doing her thing. Sister Cheryl West, she has the Keegan. Everybody needs to get with Sister Cheryl West, and everybody needs a Kagan water machine because there's nothing on the market that comes close to that. It electrifies the blood. It separates the blood. There's so many benefits. There now, it's anywhere from $2 to $3 grand. But hey, like everything, there's payment plans. You can get with Sister Cheryl West. There's financing plans available. Again, if you need her, Sister Cheryl, if it's okay, I can give people your phone number. Where they can text you. Or you guys, y'all can catch her on Facebook. Same thing with Sister Kilwata. I'm hoping that Sister Kilwata can start packaging vegan meals. If so, I will be buying all my meals. I know how to prepare it myself. But if I can wake up in the morning and I have 3 meals in my refrigerator for morning, noon, and night. Now, in the morning, for me, it's really easy. If I can find a watermelon, hey, it's watermelon. If not, I'm eating some other fruit. For a lot of people, they need more substance. Especially, let's say you work in construction. So you need some oatmeal. But it got to be whole grain. It can't be none of the shit that you get at your local store. All of that's it has no fiber in it. So you got to get oatmeal. You got to get away from the eggs. You got to get away from the dairy. So no more meat, no more dairy, no more eggs. It's just, damn, if you want to eat some of that peanut butter is good. Get some that 9-grain bread, 7-grain bread if you want to get you some bread. Bread is still good with me. I'm not with I forget the difference between vegan and vegetarian. One's gluten, one's gluten free, and all of this stuff. I don't really get that deep into it. I understand the benefits of plant-based because I did it, and I do it all the time. The only benefit to eating meat is if you want your body, if you want to put your body into a state of autophagy. So let's cut to the chase. Let's get to the whole meat of what we're doing. So the reason I do what I do is the body says you are dying. Since you're dying, when you eat meat, meat is a program. Meat is just like if you was to take your USB drive and eat it. That's meat. Meat is a set of instructions. It's like a dictionary. Does anybody eat a dictionary? Nobody eats a dictionary. Meat has no nutritional value. Meat is a set of instructions. That's what a protein. Protein is a bunch of letters together that tell the body what to do. Carbs is the fuel that the body runs off of. That we talked about. We were talking about gut microbes and all that stuff. We were talking about the 5 keys of the mitochondrial DNA. Remember we talked about number 1, production of ATP. Number 2, homeostasis. That means the balance. So that way your metabolic rate. Number 3 is your immunity. Did you guys know? If y'all heard Sister Dolores Cannon, her video, and I know I'm jumping around, but I get excited about this stuff because I've been doing this for a long time, but I was just doing it because I was bored. I had no idea till I started getting older and older, and everybody else my age, they looked like older than me. And then everybody else my age they was having problems. And then there's nobody my age in the gym. I'm in the gym with all these 20, 30-year-old dudes, 40-year-old dudes. There's nobody in my age group. I see dudes older on TikTok in the park looking good, But when I go to the gym, I'm around youngsters, and then all my friends, everybody I talk to, I don't know. There's very few people people my age, they don't do what I do. So I do shit that 30-year-olds do, 40-year-olds. So I don't do nothing that everybody else that's my age, shit they do, that's just bored. Man, I ain't going to play no damn Tetris. Watching movies or whatever. So Dolores Cannon said, and this is true. Now, whether you know who Dolores Cannon is, there's no place for the time. Yes, she's an older white lady who be dropping some knowledge. Do you know that you cannot get sick if you are fulfilling or walking in your purpose? You guys know that? And I thought about it, what she said, and I was like, dude, you know what? I don't get sick. Now, the common cold is the body telling you, slow down, bro. Sinuses is the body telling you too much mucus in your body, something in your diet, and you getting too much male pollen into your system. That's all sinuses is. It's not, you're not really sick. You just got mucus. So the biology of ketosis and autophagy, this is how an alpha male stays an alpha male, and this is how a goddess female stays a goddess female. So the dominant culture nowadays says, like my boy Dan Pena, he's 75, I think. Arnold Schwarzenegger's like 80. Clint Eastwood is shit. That fool's like 90. They still making movies. But they got the testosterone level of somebody who's 30. Why? Because they know how to increase their testosterone. So that's what makes a man. And women, you got to maintain your estrogen. Because ladies, as you know, your estrogen level starts to drop off. Men, your testosterone levels drop off. So one of the things I showed was that it's called an MCT oil. Well, another thing that's missing is magnesium. So your metabolic strength, it's hard to find a man with my mass at my age. It's very hard to find men because they look like marathon runners. I don't like that look either. So I'm not trying to walk around looking like no skinny dude because then the youngsters think they could, they say, oh, this little skinny shit, we can take it. So it's good to have I like to keep my mass. So that's the only reason why I don't like drop down a lot lower. But what is the point? The point is, how does the body hold a mass? Well, we talked about Otto Warburg back in the day. And Otto Warburg, W-A-R-B-U-R-G, way back in 1800s, along with Jethro Kloss, who wrote the book Back to Eden. So those were the two books when I started in my 20s that I read, especially Back to Eden by Jethro Kloss. And it has that's like the books like my grandmother had that had the farmer's almanac that tells you what season the plant, and blah, blah, blah. Well, that is called blood oxygen. So the blood has a certain oxygen debt. So you can't cure a disease, but you can starve it to death. That's all I do. That's what fasting is. That's what the Bible says. Some things come out through fasting and prayer. So some diseases get into the body's system. And so you have to realize that sometimes you have to cut off its energy supply to the disease. And a lot of times, if the body's thinking about something, or if the body's having some kind of an issue or whatever, if you just cut off the body's the oxygen supply, bam, the disease it dries up. Or if you cut off because remember, cancer uses a lot of glucose. It cannot exist unless it's a lot of acid and there's a lot of processed sugar in the system. What happens if you remove the acid, meat, and the processed sugar, which is, pretty much anything white, especially white flour and white potatoes? Well, what happens to the disease? Well, it ain't got no food. It ain't got no source. What's going to happen to you if I put my hand over your mouth and over your nose? What's going to happen to you? Well, you're going to die. Well, what's going to happen to the disease in the body? So that's why I don't really get sick. I don't get sick not because, I'm doing something extra. The body is designed not to get sick. But we just put things in our body that fuels those, again, microbiomes in our gut that causes the body to get out of resonance. You are in a sound, frequency, wave, vibration, because sound, frequency, wave, and vibration create structure. Let me say it again. Sound, frequency, wave, and vibration create structure. I guarantee you no disease can exist. That's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because when you look at what there was a study done by MIT in computer science. They talked about, programmed, teaching computers to program disease, racism, oppression. Everything is an algorithm. This is digital. I can put you in a digital poorhouse, so to speak. There's a great book written by a lady by the name of Kathy O'Brien. It was called Weapons of Mass Destruction. If you understand the mass, you can never get sick. You can heal the body. You can heal yourself. You are in a frequency war. So what we're going to be doing is going into and giving you the code. Because remember, the world used to operate on 432. They changed it to 440. So everybody, you are in a, because it's not, if you're going to get sick, it's just when. So what do you got to do? You have to be able to keep your body, your brain, your body, your biology, your DNA, your consciousness. Everything has to have a specific structure. So vibration comes before action. So you can't cure a disease, but you can starve a disease. But starving the disease has nothing to do with food. Starving the disease has to do with flavonoids. And that gets into what is called ketosis and autophagy. I really honestly believe the only reason I'm not dead, because when I had COVID, the 3 nights that, and remember, those 3 is February the 18th, 19th, and 20th. I couldn't do this. I couldn't catch my breath. I was breathing, but wasn't nothing coming in. So I realized that this wasn't what they told me it was. This was high altitude sickness. Because I remember I felt that same way when I was in Denver, Colorado. We was up in our very, very high altitude exercising. And I couldn't catch my breath because I was breathing, but I wasn't, my oxygen intake was off. So my brain, I got lightheaded. Damn near passed out. So I remember, okay, the body is made up of minerals. There's 102 minerals. The most important thing is you got to have burdock root, bladderwrack, moringa, and the Irish sea moss. If you have those 4 things, they contain all 102 minerals and enzymes that the body needs. That's the only reason a disease exists. That's why people have all the problems. That's the reason that I'm doing this private group. This is, again, the cost is $100, and I'm just going to be sharing with you everything that I do from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed for the next 30 days. Some of the stuff you already know, you're already doing. The other stuff, you probably don't know, and you're probably not doing. I purposely did this to myself. I was not planning on staying at 280, 85 pounds for this long. I really kind of forgot that. It was like, damn, you know what? I haven't took the trash out in a while. So remember what Dolores Cannon said. You cannot get sick when you're operating in your purpose. Let me say it again. See, when you acting your highest self, you're in a state of excitement. So why are so many light workers struggling financially? Because they're operating in the light, it's just the wrong light. That's like, this is why I love what I do. Because like, I always remember when my mom died and I prayed, I prayed and I asked God to die. I remember because I was little and I didn't understand like why. And I obviously when I was 12, I didn't I was dumb as a box of rocks. I just didn't understand it. Like I didn't understand how. I was like, God knows that was our only caregiver. Like it was shit. That was all I had was my mama. My father was nowhere around. My grandparents, they was, they was there, but I had one sister. She was living with my grandmother. Big Mama, we had another Big Mama Aline. But they all, Big Mama Aline was old. Little Mama, she had a family. So everybody had people. So I couldn't wrap my brain around. And when I was young, I had all kinds of health problems. So when I was playing football, number one, I was like, damn, I don't even remember, because all I ate was Snickers. And I remember that whenever school was in, I loved it because we had free lunch. And I would con somebody else out of their lunch card. So when school was in, number one, I had PE first period on purpose because I didn't have a shower. I had no way to bathe. So when my mom died and I moved in, my biological father, they didn't have an indoor restroom. And I think about this today and I'm like, this is crazy. But it's like, when I tell you the story, like they had it was like a little room and there was a toilet in there, but it was like shoulders, you could barely squeeze in there. That was the only thing in there was a toilet. There was no tub. And I'm thinking that's like the house I'm looking at right now. See, we got like 5 bathrooms. And I grew up and I'm thinking about, damn, you're like, this shit doesn't, it can't make this up. Like we had so we had a tub, so you have to put the water on the stove, put it in the pot, put it on the stove, let the water get hot, pour it in the tub, and then I was in the kitchen in the kitchen, I remember taking a bath once. And I remember because my dad's wife walked in, she had a bunch of sisters. Then Pam walked in, then Lola Ruth walked in, then Diane walked in. And they were all talking, oh, look at him, he looks like real good. And they kept, and I didn't know that it was actually terms of endearment. They were saying, like, damn. But I took it like, damn. Man, that effed me up, man. That shit fucked me up. I was a messed up dude. At 13, I had a bunch of old women looking at older. I say old shit. They wasn't old, for me. Because I was 13. But to be buck naked, standing in the tub with a bunch of older women, looking at your genitalians, and really telling you, damn, the boy's like your daddy. But I didn't take it like that. Because obviously I didn't know what they were saying. And I became what they called, it's called the keto flu. It's a brain fog that creates a feeling where you're lethargic all the time. And you have I always suffer from severe muscle cramps all through football. They had special salt tablets that they would give me because I had abdominal cramps. Not cramps like cramps, but my abs would just lock up. In the middle of the game, in the middle of a track meet, I would get over, and so the trainers would come over there, and they had these special stretches that they would do to keep my muscles to unlock them. It still happens to this day. So I don't do a lot of ab work because of I'm going to use the word, the side effects of being on the wrong frequency for too long of a time. You see, brothers and sisters, I don't know if you really understand how powerful you are. That's why I put this inside the book, The Neurotheology and Nutrition. Because if you put it in your mind before you put it in your mouth, that's why we're supposed to bless our food. You change the molecular structure of your food. The same way Dr. Emoto's food. You go to YouTube and watch all of his videos. They're still out there. Even Dr. Emoto is no longer here. He spoke into water and changed the molecular structure of water. Do you understand what I just said? You can change drinking water into sewage, and you can change sewage into drinking water with your brain. Could you imagine what you could do to another human being? So what we're going to be doing we're going to be doing some otherworldly stuff because, I'm way out there. I understand 369. That's vibration, frequency, and energy. So Tesla said, if you can understand 369, you understand the secret to the universe. So now that you understand the secret to the universe, that is the secret to the cells of the inner, or what's called the molecular, and then the subatomic level, 369. So we're talking about, we're going from the outside in. So what we're talking about is really scalar energy. And the inner cycles of your cells. That's what they're doing at Project CERN. Project CERN, that's why they fired it back up on July the 15th. I'm sorry, July the 5th. That's why I'm starting my program on July the 5th. Project CERN is a big human cell under the ground, and they are trying to figure out how to control the mitochondrial DNA or the Eve gene, because the good old boys is trying to figure you out, because the mitochondrial DNA, whenever it is overloaded, it throws off and it leads to cell death. If they can figure out the potassium and calcium exchange, you have what's called ionized pumps, ION. You have a sodium and potassium pump. So what this diet does, this is really God's original plan for how mass and matter is supposed to interact. But we messed it up. Because, and in that video I was telling you guys about, they go through and they show you the advertisement, kind of like with cigarettes. They came out, they started advertising, people started smoking cigarettes. So if I got to advertise, like, you don't have to, Bentley, they don't advertise. Lamborghinis don't advertise. Why? Lions don't advertise. They ain't got to. Why? Proof is in the pudding. So there's vibration of resistance and there's a vibration of acceptance. When you give the body plant-based, the body tunes to what it talks about in John 7:38. You are nothing but a source code. You're giving your body the wrong code. That is what throws us off, because we're not living our life according to the language, so we're not a vibrational match for our own body, so we get sick. So the body is rejecting you. So your homeostasis is off, number 2. So number 1, your ATP is off. Now we know ATP is the energy currency of the cell. If you ain't got no ATP, you ain't got no energy. You're lethargic. That's pretty much like most people that I hang out with my age, they take naps. Shit, I ain't taking a nap since I don't even remember. I don't know, as a kid, I actually got beat. They actually get beat to take a nap. I ain't never taken naps. I never took naps, I should say. What's the point? Well, you got unlimited energy. Why? Because the energy, you're vibrational. This is called vibrational management. So what we're going to be doing for the next 30 days is going through all the step-by-step process that, in addition to all of the supplements that I just showed you guys on the TikTok video, and it's on my Facebook page, especially like Tanga Ali. Like, it sounds weird, right? Like Tanga Ali, like, what did he say? You talking about Muhammad Ali? No, there's something called Tanga Ali. It is actually really, it's just like the cocoa, but it's not. See, cocoa and chocolate is neutered. So guess what it does? It doesn't have no fiber in it. So if you, for example, it's really for men, because it's, again, hope I'm pronouncing it right, CACAO, cocoa, whatever it's called, CACAO. This is just one of the many. So what does it do? It increases male testosterone. Why? It's a freaking plant. But in the United States, they take the plant, they strip it. What is white rice? It's stripped. What is oatmeal? It's stripped. So everything in America is stripped. That's why it's no good. You can't go to the store and buy shit. That's why I grow, I'm happy the wife growing shit in the backyard. Because at least I know it's not stripped. Of what? Fiber. Fiber prevents what you eat from creating an insulin spike. That's why most black people are on dialysis, or their kidneys blown out, or they got high blood pressure. Another thing I noticed doing this was the yellowing in my eyes. And I noticed in my videos, and I noticed my skin. I noticed that my skin doesn't look as smooth, and it doesn't look so I got up to this weight because there's one specific family member that said, "Oh, you don't understand. You was always You just born. You always been healthy. You know what it's like to be a white brother. Praise Jesus. I got one of them in y'all family too. So this was to prove that Negro wrong. Brothers and sisters, you are what you eat. You do not have a problem. Now the next question is, even though I said all of this shit, everybody, or a lot of people, gonna get off this cold car and go right to Popeyes and get that chicken sandwich. Why? Because you're listening, but you're not hearing. Hearing is a lost art. That's what the Bible says, faith come by hearing. Everybody can listen, but only a very small few can pick up the energy imprint that's inside of the genome. Because the biology of transgenerational epigenetics is called the mechanics of targeted change. That's what I do. So I target specific aspects. That's what I did with my kids, especially when DJ was having seizures. I had to figure out what was causing it and target the nutrition to affect that. Now he don't have seizures no more. And I was doing the same thing with Samora. Unfortunately, I didn't follow my gut, and I let her live with her mama instead of living with me. Now she's not here. So that shit's on me. But, like Samora told me every day, Dad, because back then her mom was strung out on whatever. She said, I got to stay with my mama. I can't leave her now. But if I had to do it all over again, shit, your mama's grown. You ain't. I would have packed this shit, tied up, and threw it in my car. She'd have got over it. She'd have thanked me later. You see, brothers and sisters, you know what to do. Your gut's telling you. You just ain't doing it. Ain't nobody on this call can tell me, Doc, I know. No. Somebody's been listening to me for more than a week. You know everything that you're doing you know what you're doing is not right. You know that there's something wrong with religion. You know it because you are smart. You know that if everybody that's not in a certain religion are happy, and everybody that is in the religion, they're not happy. Because the body cannot get sick when you're doing your purpose. Because the body releases pheromones, hormones, endorphins, feel-good chemicals, and your immune system, number two, of what happens to you in your gut life, whenever you're oscillating and vibrating according to your God-given destiny, is the body automatically, you got to do nothing, it automatically activates what's called the mitochondrial calcium exchange. Inside of the mitochondrial DNA, that regulates cellular death. Cells can't die. It also affects a specific gene called NCLX that's associated with the sodium and the calcium exchange that causes what we call heart fatigue or heart failure. We call it heart attack. That just simply means that individual, his calcium and sodium homeostasis is off. So it affects the heart. And the heart sends you a signal. Man, the human body is freaking amazing. It'll send you a signal in your blood. And you have something called elevated heart enzymes in your blood. That's a precursor for a heart attack. That means you had a mini stroke or a mini heart attack. So when you go, the doctors know this. Man, the doctors, this is crazy. That's the stuff I can't even say that I've personally experienced by going to medical doctors. That they told me. But thankfully, I know how to read and I'm educated, and I know 2 plus 2 equals 4. So even with my daughters, Shamora, they were saying things because they think they're protecting you, but they really not. They just they really don't want you to be well. If you go to the doctor, they know. They do the blood work. They see that shit in your blood. Well, how come they don't tell you? Doctors know. Even when I read the autopsy report for my daughter, I knew there was some cranial damage to her CSF that was in the pyometer or the durameter. I told the doctors this. You know, it couldn't be up into the pyometer because the pyometer is underneath the skull and it's blah, 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 blah. But yet, it came up in the autopsy report. If you go to the doctor, they can measure your blood right now. They can tell you everything that sits in your blood. Because the life of the flesh is in the blood. That's what it says in the book of Leviticus. So I recommend, I don't do it because I don't really need it. But I recommend go get your blood work done before you start this with me on July the 5th. 30 days later, go get your blood work. Go get your blood work done. I guarantee you, all your cholesterol levels, all your what they call biomarkers, I've got 100 grand. If you do what I do for the next 30 days, and your freaking life isn't changed, 100%. Why? Because it's basic science. That's what the body is made. So just because of the fact that we may not, especially in our culture, in the black culture, we have not been exposed to it. Now, and the real reason why I'm doing it now was because of the documentary documentary that I watched a few days ago, and I gotta find the name of it so I can just turn the TV on so I can try to find the name of it. That documentary. Sorry about that, you guys. Because for everybody that has doubt, now remember, I'm giving you shit. I can keep going on talking. Yeah, I know I can go all day. But some of you guys are like me. I ain't mad at you. Like, Doc, I like you. I appreciate you, man. You're my boy, but you know what? Show me the nail scars in your hand, homie. So if you go to the doctor and you have certain enzymes in your blood, and they just tell you, yeah, you got these enzymes in your blood, and they don't tell you those enzymes are a precursor that you had or you are having. That's the reason. That's the body's alarm system. And the body's telling you, yo, bruh, you need, and the biggest thing is B12 and B3. D. Vitamin D3. Nobody, like I tell you guys about, we need H3O, not H2O. You can't go to the doctor. No doctor would tell you that you need H3O. Excuse me. But you do. Not H2O. Where do you get it from? Fruits. H3O is water inside of a fruit. That's all it is. But we got a conundrum. Because of, they know that too, so I'm trying to find the name of it, that thing I watched last night. Let's see, program history. And because in H3O is basically the same thing when you go buy protein that's pre-digested protein is what they call it. In other words, it's very easy to assimilate. It doesn't affect the acid in the stomach. That's why when you drink all the water you drink, all you're doing is neutralizing the digestive enzymes in your stomach. You should never drink water before and during intaking food, even though everybody says you should. You should never eat fruits and vegetables together. Even though every freaking salad, Wendy's salad, every time I go out and get a salad, like, there's a salad. Now, it tastes good. I just had a salad that it was lettuce, apples, pecans, raisins, and caramel drizzle. That's the worst shit you could eat. You can't mix that together. I have that inside of my book, Food Combining. You can't combine those foods. You can't combine citric acid and malic acid. So now you got to understand what. That's why you can't eat fruit cocktail. When I was a kid, they put fruit cocktail in a can. How the hell you go? Number one, how does it not go bad? Because you can buy they got collard greens and mustard greens in a freaking can at the grocery store. How is that possible, man? What's in that can that's going to allow those fruits and vegetables not to, age? There's something in it. Because there's no way you can put fruits and vegetables in a can, sit on the shelf, and they just last forever. Unless, do my grandmother used to do. That's called canning. But that was a process involved. She would boil it, she would do this, she would do that. She would get those mason jars, she would seal it tight, then, bam, then you could can it. And you could save it for a certain period of time. So it's not that you can't, brothers and sisters, it's just that, like everything, there is a process. And if you can find that process, which is what we're going to be doing for the next 30 days, I'm just going to go through my process. Now, I don't do no canning. I don't know nothing about canning and that kind of stuff. But the process that I use to put flavonoids in your body to reverse the aging process, that just simply means the body's going to create stem cells. The stem cells is then going to activate the state of autophagy, where the body the healthy cells will go through the body, find the rogue cells and kill them, and then escort their ass out the body. That's all I do. It's like taking out the trash. So you can do that too. Now, there's many different ways to do it, and I'm not going to do the hardcore extreme way that I used to do, which by doing just meat only, because then that works, but it works too good because it pulls calcium out of the bones. So, and if you guys want to do that, I've already taught that. You guys know how to do that already. You just basically eat nothing. It's called fasting while full. Now, Harvard, they finally figured it out, and all the good old boys is now promoting it, especially my boy David Sinclair. But you got to remember, brothers and sisters, there's a dark side to everything. And the dark side, because I've done it quite a bit, it is awesome. Especially if you're talking about if you're trying to drop weight fast, like me. Now, the problem is there's something called NADR and NAD. These are part of the regulators of the body. So these NAD activates a specific anabolic or creates a specific anabolic environment inside the body. That's why like an Atkins diet was so dangerous, but it's also good. Because the Atkins diet make the body turn on itself. Has anybody ever heard of anabolic steroids? Now the word anabolic just really means muscle building. But you got to look at how does it build the muscle. Because there's a lot of different ways, because there's so many different steroids out there, and a lot of that shit is synthetic. So your job and my job is to be careful of taking anything that you didn't pull out the ground. Not that it doesn't work. It's just that it works. So in order to reset the body, your biological clock, to stop the telomeres from unraveling, this is how you control the aging, by controlling what's called your cellular volt or your cellular voltage. Only way to control the cellular voltage is with fruit, berries, and nuts. That's primarily what we're going to be doing. Now, the dominant culture knows this too. It's going to be hard as hell to find fruit, berries. When I was a kid, they had something called dewberries and mulberries. Now they got fruitless trees. This is the crazy shit I've ever seen. You can buy a mulberry tree now, but it doesn't produce fruit. I didn't even know something when my sister, because we had all of these plans, and my sister, because she brought a brand new home before from the ground up. So we thought, shit, first thing we're going to do, as soon as we move in, we're going to pull out all of the trees that they put in there. We're going to put some fruit trees. My sister was, well, you can't plant no damn fruit trees in your front yard. I said, why not? It's mine. Then I remember, oh, snap, that's right. I used to do that job. I used to be the guy riding around telling people, I'm sorry, sir, you cannot paint your garage door pink. And you know what everybody told me? The same thing I just said. Why not? It's my mother. I pay the bill on this mother. You pay my mortgage? And I'm like, damn, now I'm the guy that's going to be cursing out the code enforcement dude. Get your ass off my property, man, before I shoot you. You cannot plant fruit trees in your front yard, brothers and sisters. It's against the homeowners association. I just looked it up. Are you serious? Some neighborhoods, you can't even plant fruit trees in your backyard. They say it draws critters. In my association, we got to get an approval to plant a fruit tree in our own backyard. Ain't that some shit? But that's just the world we live in. But why? Because they know wherever they are. That's why you can't find watermelons anymore. Oh, I finally found it. Y'all want to watch this documentary? Please write this down. The name of the documentary that spurred, if you want to use that word, activated, I like that word, motivated. It's called The Game Changers. It's on Netflix. The Game Changers. This is a documentary about this scientist who went out and took top athletes. Y'all remember Conor McGregor? Well, Conor McGregor got his ass whooped by that one of those Gracie dudes. The Gracie dude was a vegetarian. Conor McGregor was bragging before they got it on the video. You gotta watch it. He was bragging, "I'm gonna knock your freaking grass eating ass out." He said he was bragging that he ate 3 steaks a day. Well, you already know this answer. You know what happened. Conor McGregor. Y'all know Conor McGregor, right? He got his ass smoked. Now this is kind of going back a little bit. What's the point, Doc? What's the point? Well, after the Conor McGregor thing, they went on. Then they go to the Miami Dolphins. Then they got Jackie Chan, Arnold Schwarzenegger is in there. A lot of high-profile athletes are in this documentary. But the test that the doctors do on the blood before they switch, they test their blood. Now remember, I got paid extra when I donated blood plasma. I didn't put the two together because my blood plasma, number one, I'll tell you guys that for whatever reasons, I have antibodies and I can't get hepatitis C. So they use my blood to give to other people, but for whatever reasons, my body produces some type of antigens. The way they explained it to me, that they paid me money. So I'm like, okay, I don't know how I got it, but they said, well, can we take extra blood? Get extra. So I said, sure, no problem. I get extra pay. That was back when I was homeless. And the next thing they said was, you can pump out. They said the process takes about 4 to 6 hours. Well, not long. Maybe let's say about 4 hours on the average person. You guys never donate blood plasma, you should try it. It's crazy. To see the process. The reason I'm telling you this is because that's how you tell if your ass is healthy or not. They will not take your blood plasma. You gotta go do a bunch of tests. If you were out of the country, if you had, sexually transmitted disease, if you had this, that, and other, they ain't gonna take your blood plasma because they ain't gonna put that shit in somebody else. So number one, you have the other horse if they take your blood plasma. And most people's blood plasma, as you will see in the documentary, the name of the documentary, The Game Changers. It's on Netflix. Their blood plasma, the blood plasma of people who eat meat is very, very cloudy. And it's oily. And it takes a long time for the separate the blood from the plasma. I could be in and out in 2 hours. Everybody else 4 hours. And they took more blood. They took out more plasma. And my blood produced the plasma back faster than everybody else's. This was back when I was a vegan. I didn't really put the two and two together. I just thought that I was special. I was like, damn, you know what? Shit, I know I was a high vibrational mother anyway. So that just made my head bigger. Not that it wasn't big already. Okay, y'all explain. But the point is, I didn't really put two and two together until afterwards, like years later, when I was no longer homeless, blah, blah, blah. I was like, damn, because when I was homeless, number one, I was kind of a vegan because I had to be a vegan. Why? It's not less expensive to go buy an orange and an apple than it is to go get you a steak or a burger. So the food cost was a lot less. Now they kind of hit, if you go get real organic food, now, shit, that's even more. But the point that I'm making is my blood plasma was just like the guys in the movie. It was clean and it was clear. And it was easy to separate from the blood. That means that you are in optimal health. Because the life of the flesh is in the blood. Your job and my job is to understand a guy by the name of Dr. Leonard Caldwell. Dr. Leonard Caldwell. And he talks about, he has a book called How to Cure, surprisingly, How to Cure Cancer. And I don't know if he's still around. If you write books like that, usually you end up in the ground somewhere. But he was talking about alkalinity, vitamin E, vitamin C, and vitamin D. So we're going to be breaking that down during the next 30 days. And once again, I want to do short videos. I think at this point, I would just do a video showing, for example, the workout stuff. I don't really know if you guys really need that or not. Because, you guys know I do super intense training. Basically, you just get your heart rate up for 15 seconds to 30 seconds. Then you rest for 15 seconds or 30 seconds. The weight-bearing exercise, whether you got weights or not, you can just do, push-ups, sit-ups. There's a whole bunch of ways that you can add or do weight-bearing exercise. I'll touch on that as well. And maybe do a couple of videos in the garage, just going over. I have my daily 10, so I'll show you guys those 10 that I do when I work out in the morning. I do cardio. In the evenings, I do the weights. And I don't lift heavy because I don't really have anything that's really, really heavy. And, talking about like 45, 50. In the gym, I usually lift like 75 and hundreds. That's when I'm putting on mass. So whenever I'm putting on or bulking up, I actually have to go to the gym because they got more equipment, obviously. But in this case, since I'm not really looking to bulk up, we'll just show you guys what I do for the cardio part and then what I do for the weights. Do you got to do the 2 a days like I do? Absolutely not. I just do it because what it does, it keeps my body, or it helps me to hold on to my muscle, because the body will break down muscle first before it breaks down fat. That's why most people, when they lose weight, they don't lose weight, because remember, there's no such thing as weight. It's just waste. The body stores waste as fat. It's just poop, basically. So you're getting rid of your poop suit. But the body likes to keep the poop suit in case of an emergency. So what the body says, it's easier for us to break down his biceps, shoulders, your chest muscles. The body will break down muscle before it breaks down the fat. That's why most people, if they do your BMI index before you start and afterwards, a lot of times you realize that, damn, did you really help yourself or hurt yourself? Because your body mass index, it measures your body fat content. Most women are about 30, most men are about 20. Back in the heyday, I always keep my body fat under 10. That's hard to do, especially nowadays. So you want to be cautious of your body fat percentage. And you can do it with a waist test. There's a lot of different ways to measure or take. Now they got freaking scales. You can just go buy a scale. I don't know what they cost, but you can buy a scale and it tells you your body fat percent and it tells you your muscle mass percentage. And that way starting off, so that way you are cautious. The body will keep muscle if you use muscle. And say it again, this is what I do. So the reason why I don't lose as much muscle, you always going to lose a little bit, but I don't lose as much muscle because I make sure that I'm doing what I call weight bearing exercises while I'm in basically a calorie reduction state. In this case, we're not really doing calorie reduction. All we're doing is just fruits and vegetables. You can eat as much fruits and vegetables as you want. So if I was really focusing on dropping a bunch of weight really, really fast, like I was doing in the past, you guys know we would start off with the meat first, like I did last time. And then me and Sister Cheryl West did it. I forgot how much weight, Sister Cheryl. I mean, you dropped a few pounds. I think Sister Diane did it with you as well. So this time it's similar, except it's not as strict. So we're not doing the 7 days with meat only, then 7 days with fruit, and then 7 days with vegetables. We're doing the entire 30 days of fruits and vegetables. Totally up to you as far as how you want to do it. I'm going to give my recommendations as far as what I do, and we'll start officially on July the 5th, even though I'm starting today. But everybody else, y'all can join me. Now, if you want to start today, so I know tomorrow is the 4th of July, and a lot of people, have already bought a lot of goodies and all of that good stuff, for the 4th of July. And like everything, don't feel bad about it, because again, remember, I'm not saying I ain't going to never eat meat again, because I was a vegan before. And I know everything I know now, I knew back then. It's just that just being with my lifestyle, being a vegan, it just made me, now it's gotten a little bit, the food has gotten better, and there's a little bit more science off that gets you and helps you understand why you get that fog. They call it brain fog. So now I know what causes the brain fog because of all of the electronics. That, and because I'm always on the computer 24 hours a day, pretty much 7 days a week. If I'm not staring into a machine, then I got my cell phone. Well, all of that electronic smog. So now I got me some EMF protectors. I got me a pyramid thing to help block some of the electrical magnetic frequencies, so that way I don't have that brain fog while I'm walking around and kind of feeling off. So that helps as well. So they got a lot of new stuff out from back when I did it before. Well, I would for everybody that want to join me again, really, it's just $100 for the next 30 days. We start July the 5th, and at the beginning, any of the books and stuff, we really don't need them. But if you guys want, because remember, there's about 12 books that comes with it. It's at the website Theocentric Nutrition. For some people that don't have, it's really the two that you may want, and that's the book entitled Rotation Diet. The next book is just for the nutrition aspect. It's called Reverse Aging. The third book is What Does Your Blood Say About You? Those are 3 books. The other ones, Distilled Water, God's Water, explains gene and genes, neurotheology and nutrition. Again, I'll throw those in there too, PDF copies for anybody who's joining the group. But this is more going to be hands-on, where I'm going to show you exactly what I eat first thing in the morning after my morning workout. So tomorrow morning, I'll do a short video just showing you guys what I'm doing, even though we don't officially start until the 5th, but I already started today. But we'll officially start on July the 5th. And after I show the video, then we're going to do a short Q&A later on in the day. So in the mornings, you will get a short audio or video from me telling you what I do for that day. That afternoon, hopefully you're going to be doing the same thing too. Then after you do it, if you got any questions, but to keep the Q&A short, I'm thinking I may just have you guys text me the questions that you have, then I can answer them. That way we can get through it in 5 to 10 minutes, because I'm still doing everything else. I'm just adding this to what I'm already doing. Still got the next class that we start tonight, where we really, really get into the auditory pathway of ascension, where we break down how sound changes your, what we call your vibratory rate, that allows you to expand your consciousness to be what we call aware. So that way you operate in love. Because it's easy to see why people don't like you. You say, man, it's kind of like what happened with me and my father. As I got older and my father got older, I was able to love my father. Even though he never said, son, I love you. I know he loved me because of the way he talked. When we laughed and I went over there, he was happy to see me. So I was able to overlook the fact it didn't hold a grudge, wasn't angry and pissed off. So people, when you get in, that's what saved means. Saved means that now you're able to overlook other people's flaws because they're not flaws. That's just their pattern. That's how they see the world. That's how they was raised. Nobody's better, or worse. We're just different. So now it's easy for me to not get offended so easily. My feelings still get hurt just like everybody else. I would like for everybody to, love, value, all that good stuff. But a lot of people don't have that capacity, or they don't see you the way that you see yourself. So now it's really easy to forgive people and just love them. So you just love people for where they're at. You try to change them if you like today. If you want to do this, man, awesome. If you don't, if you want to keep eating burgers and steaks and fries and all that good stuff, no problem. This is your life. I do this because this is the way that I can clean my body and cleanse it. Because I understand that eating and doing the stuff that I'm doing, that dirties my body, and I can tell. Because now I did it. And I see how my skin doesn't look as healthy. I see how my libido has changed. I see how my eyes are not as white as they used to be. They got that yellow tint in them. I see the different things, how my back aches. You guys remember walking downstairs, I just blew my knee out. Well, carrying around 280 pounds is a lot harder than carrying around 180 pounds. So my knees don't hurt or ache when I'm carrying around less weight. My heart doesn't have to work as hard. Because they say you got to add a mile of blood vessels for every, I think it's 5 pounds of weight that you put on. So your heart is under a lot more strain and stress when you carry more weight. And based upon the documentary that you guys watch, you're going to see if you are eating a meat, and they say if you just eat one piece of fish, it doesn't take that much. It totally messes up your body's ecosystem. 99% of the problem that we have in health is because of meat, as you will see in the documentary. Brothers and sisters, I love you. Appreciate you. We'll see you guys later on tonight. God bless.